So select that and let us give a name. I'm calling that Kendo Icenium webinar and say create. Now here you see that project being created for you, and if I go and here you see that your project is structure, that since we selected Kendo UI mobile option, you have all the reference of Kendo JS and CSS added to your project by default. Then you have a script file, your hello world.js. So you may probably want to write your JavaScript in this file. Main.css where you will be writing CSS of your app, and index.html where you will be writing HTML of your app. As you see that there is a Cordova.js because Icenium works over Cordova, and it is a graphical, it provides you all the it is a cloud-based IDE, and it provides you all the feature which helps you to do faster development of your app rather than focusing on I call that management work. So for example, let us say this is a project which we have created, and if you go and run this project right now, you have option that either you can build a project, you can build and deploy the project. So for example, if I have a device connected to my development machine using USB, this option would be enabled in that case. So directly from Icenium, you can deploy your app to a device. For example, if you want to test your app on a different kind of devices. You have 5 different kind of Android devices, and then 5 different kind of different kind of iOS devices. In that case, what you can do, you can connect those devices to your development machine, and directly you can go to run and say, hey, build and deploy that on the devices. Third option is that in simulator. So here you see that we have a default app, a template app has been created here. So let us go and run this in simulator. And if you can see on your screen that application is running in iOS simulator. If you want to see that how Icenium will look in Android devices, just select from the top Android phone, and you see that how your application will behave and look in Android device. You can go to iPhone again, and from here you can choose version of iPhone, like version 6, version 5.1, version 3, and accordingly your app will change. You have iPad simulator as well. You have Android tablet simulator as well, which you can select from here. So here you see that how Icenium is helping you not to guess, rather to simulate that how your app would look in on a real devices. Third option is that directly from here you can rotate and see that how app will behave on the when device has been changed to landscape mode. You can refresh, you can reload, you can debug. So this debug option is very very handy while development. That here you see that you have console window, which I can show you. Here you have console window, then you have profile. Right from here you can do profiling of your app. Here you have timeline. So if you want to record some certain request, which you can do from here, you can see that what are the call being made to service, how much time they are taking, and everything related to the service call you can check from network. Here you have resources. So if you are using working with HTML5 local storage, etc., all can be seen from here and debug from here. We can go to elements and you see that how you can select a particular element on the DOM and can start debugging that. So you see that and this is just one feature of Icenium. You see that how Icenium helps you to simulate your app. It helps you to debug. It helps you to to profile your app. It helps you to see that how you are making call to services and all the fiddler. If you have done any inspection of HTTP request and response, how you do in fiddler, all are available right on your IDE itself. Now let us go back to our app. Here you see in app. Now let us say you have created your app. What is step 2? Okay, you've done the simulation, you find it fine, your app is good to go. Second is that you have tested app on different devices. Third step is that you may want to submit your app to different store, like in case of Android to Google Play, in case of iOS to Apple Store, and etc. In that case, how Icenium helps you, you right click here and say, hey, publish my app. Before publishing app, I wanted to show you other feature as well. So you see that it is a complete IDE. Right from here you can add new file, new folder, existing files, and from archive. You can edit the configuration. So there are different configuration file attached with different platform, which you can edit right from here. So for Android you have Android manifest file, Android config file. For iOS you have .plist file and iOS config.xml, which you can right from here. You can edit that, which you see here. If I can show you. So this is your config file for Android, which if you want you can edit that. Other option here is that version control. For example, if you are going here and let us say changing something right from here and from top save it. Now we have changed, we have edited the file, we have changed the file. Go to your project, say hey version control, and here you see that you have option of commit and revert. When you say commit, Icenium is searching that where you have done the changes, and here it is saying that hey, changes made by me, that is default. If I want, I can delete that and I can put my own comment, which I want version 1. And here if I go and select a file, it is showing me that I have done changes here. Then I can select and navigate to different changes, and after that if I want I can revert it, if I want I can commit it. Let us go and say commit, and here we have committed one changes to the server. Now if you go back here again to version control, you have another option of invite collaborator. So if there is another guy who has a GitHub account, you can invite him to work on your project. There are two ways you can do version control in Icenium. One is that with Icenium own server, which we just did. Second is that if you want to work with GitHub repository, you can very much do that. Just you go here to configure remote repository, and here you put that URL of your repository in GitHub. Once that is configured, after that it is as easy as this. Just go to version control and say, hey, push the changes to GitHub, or hey, pull the changes from the GitHub. Here you can see the history and etc. So this complete version control is available right from IDE itself. First we saw the simulation, second we saw how the version control is available. Third, you can rename. So now fourth option is properties. When you go to properties and you say you have different kind of properties here. like general, iOS, Android, and plugins. So general property is saying that which version of Cordova you are using, what is the application identifier name, and supported interface orientation, etc. Then you can say that, hey, I support both, or my app will be supporting only portrait, not landscape. So you click that and it will create a manifest file saying that, hey, this app is only supported in portrait. Another, you have properties specific to iOS, Android, and plugins. If you go to iOS, here you have that you want this app to run on iPhone, iPod, or an iPad both, or only on iPhone. So from here again you click and you are saying, hey, the supported device families for this app is iPhone. Then you have background mode, which you can select that what background mode you want to use. Then again, a very tough task if you have done a development before is working with icons. Different platform need icons of different sizes, and it is tough. Once you have, I have seen many times that people submit their app to store, and after that they realize that that icon size was not as expected, and apps get rejected. Here, right from IDE, you can say, hey, choose me 57 into 57 icon. So to add an iPhone icon, just click here and browse your icon, and your icon being added. If image size which you are selecting is not of 57 into 57, as it is mentioned here, Icenium will not allow you to upload that. In the same way, you can go and configure your splash screens, icons for iPad, icons for splash screen for iPad. Same thing for Android. Here you can select that code signing identity, then you can select permissions. By default, all the permissions being given. If you think that you don't need, for example, broadcast sticky, just say, hey, I don't need this, and that is being removed from your permission. Then icons, you can select your icons. For Android, you can select a splash screen for Android right from here. Then third option is plugin. By default, out of box, Icenium provides you these plugins: barcode scanner, child browser, push plugin, and SQLite. And just day before yesterday, we launched and announced that now we support custom plugin as well. So this is how you can work with plugins. Now next, go to here. So now you see that how Icenium helps you to manage every aspect of your development. The other important development factor is management of certificate, etc. For example, if you are doing a cross-platform app development and you want to submit that to Android marketplace, you need to create a self-signed identity. You need to create a certificate. Even though you are working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, to create that certificate, you need to install Java SDK on your machine and then go to command prompt, and this is again a very complex task. If you want to create a certificate in Icenium, it is as simple as this. You go here and say, hey, option, go to option, and here you have different options available. You go to advanced, and here go to general, and here you have certificate management, which you can select. And here I have already created few certificates. If you want, you can create a new certificate and say choose your country, start date and end date. Let us say I'm choosing end date to 2015, then 2016, then 2017 or 2018. Okay, and start date type generic and say okay. In this way, just this is required to create a certificate. Here I have already created a certificate. I'll come back, so cancel. Now come back here to our project, and let us say now you have done everything and you want to publish this app to a marketplace. To do that, right click and say publish, and here is you see that it is asking that you want to publish this app to Android or App Store. Let us say we want to publish it to Android. Select that. Now it is asking you that select any certificate which will expire after 2033, which we see that ABC123 is expiring after 2040, after 2033, and say build. And this is what we need to build a package. We need to actually rebuild our application, which we can come here and say build for Android. And you see that it is we are building our app for Android, and it is saying that, hey, you have two ways that how you can run your app on the device. It is saying that to install the app you need to go to setting, application, enable unknown sources. To refresh the project, press the button and all. So this is going to create a QR code, which directly if you are not connected to your development machine through USB device, you can directly scan this QR code, and that application is on your device. So right from here you can see this QR code. So there are two ways you can run your app on device. One is this, that you have QR code. Another is that if device is attached to you, you can go here and say, hey, run build and deploy option. Now let us go again and say publish, select Google Play, select ABC and say build. Now what it is going to do, it is going to give us that APK package which we need to submit to Google Play. If you are working with iOS devices and you want to test that, go to Apple Marketplace, Apple Store, and download an app called iOn. Launch that app and then attach your iOS devices to your development machine, and after that you can directly run your app on iOS device. So here you see that it is saying that, hey, successfully created. You want to upload it or you want to download it. I am going and say, hey, I want to download it, and say file name webinar.apk, and now this is webinar.apk, which you submit to market to Google Play. So if I go here and say, can show you, so this is that APK we just created. So this is what all I had to show you about Icenium, and Icenium is much more than that. I shown you that how you only need to focus on your business requirement, on your development, and all the complexities around development being taken care by Icenium. We learned that how Icenium helps us to simulate our app, how it is very easy to test app using live sync on different kind of devices, how Icenium helps us in certificate management, it helps us in version control, how it helps us in creating package by just one click, creating certificate by just one click, how we can set the app properties for different kind of platform just by one click, etc. Now I'm going to show you that how we can work with a real app. What that app is going to do, that app, if I can show you here. So you see this is a very popular database, that is Northwind database, and what this app is going to do, this app is going to perform CRUD operation on this database. It is going to fetch records from the database and then insert record in database. So if I want to show you, go to dashboard, and I have already done that webinar test, and you see, let us run this in simulator, and you see that this app is fetching data from database. Okay, we'll go and say add, and let us say we are saying add webinar title, also webinar country, India address Gurgaon, city Gurgaon, and postal code something, say create. So we successfully created a record, and if I come back to database and go and say show me again, here you see this record number 22 we just added from app. What actually this app is doing, this app is talking to a service which we have created and working with database. Now let us go ahead and in next 20 minutes create this app. For that, here is Icenium Graphite. Go to dashboard and say, hey, create a new project for me. I'm creating a new project. So we already created a project, and that project was, if I remember, it was Kendo Icenium webinar. Select that, say open. Now go to index.html and you see that by default there are some code. I'm going to delete all the default code which is already there. In the same way, I'm going to my script, that is hello world.js, and deleting all the default code. Okay, then going to my CSS file, and the code which got created by default when we selected Kendo UI mobile option, I have just deleted that code. Now let us go to index.html, and what we are doing here is that line number 18, in line number 18, first we are creating layout of the app, and to create layout of the app we are creating a div and setting data role equal to layout, then setting data ID. Inside the layout we always have a header and footer. So what we are doing, that we are creating a header here. Okay, in the header we are saying that, hey, show me the view title which is being shown in a span. So again, setting data role equal to view title. Now coming back to footer, in footer we are doing we are just putting 3 different options to navigate to different view, and to create footer, just create a div and set data role equal to footer. Now next what we need to do, we need to create view, and we can create view by, on the HTML, I have created 2 views here. Let me go and say format code. And to create view, what you need to do, if you see line number 17, in line number 17 I am creating a div, setting ID, and then saying, hey, it is not a normal div, it is a mobile view. So setting data role equal to view, and then setting data title home. And then just I have put a header tag like home view. We are going to write actual code inside that. So we will be displaying all the fetched employee in this home view. Next we are saying that, hey, create a add view. Again, to create a add view, created a div, then set the ID, then data role equal to view and data title. Now what we need to do next is that, if you see here line number 35, 36 and 37, here we are navigating when user will tap on home or UI interaction or geolocation, they are navigating to different view like tab strip home, tab strip uni interaction, etc. What we need to do here, actually, we'll come here, we have only 2 options, we'll remove this, and we need to edit this with the view ID where we want to navigate. So on home we want to navigate actually to employee home view. Then data icon home, again go and change this data icon to add, and on click of this we want to navigate to employee add view. Oh, sorry. So select that and put it here. Now let me repeat that what I have done. I have created a layout. In that layout we have two buttons, and on touch of that button, on top of that button, we are navigating to two different views. One is employee view and one is employee add view, which we created here. Now go here and change this to add. Now let us go ahead and run this app and see how it works. So here you see that we just created app with two view. By default this is home view, then add view, and we are navigating from one view to another view. Again, if you go and read a document of Kendo UI, there are different ways you can navigate. I'm going the simplest one. Okay, now line number 44 is very important here. If you might have noticed that here we are initializing this document as Kendo mobile application. We are saying that transition style is slide and layout is mobile tab strip. Tomorrow if you have 100 of views, which view should be your home view? You can set all these here. You can go and say, hey, initial, and here you can set your any view name as your initial view. So let us say we are saying that our default view is add view, so just put that ID here. Here you see that transition is slide. If you want, you can change it to a different style, that is zoom. I have changed that. And layout ID is mobile tab strip, which you see that in line number 26 we are creating a layout with the ID mobile tab strip. Now go ahead and run app again. Here you see that by default the first view is add view, because we said that in mobile initializer that our default view is add view. Now when you navigate from one view to another view, you see that that behavior of navigation and transition has been changed. Now this is the transition is like a zoom effect is there. Again, let us come back, and it was, I guess, slide. Okay, so what we have done, we have created two views. In first view we want to display all the employees record. For that, next what we need to do, we need to create and fetch the employee record, and that we can do using Kendo UI data source. For that, go to helloworld.js, and here what I am doing, if I can show you what I'm doing here is line number 12, I am just declaring a variable, then I'm creating a kendo.data.data source, and then saying, hey, the type of service which I'm going to consume is OData. That is why I'm setting type is OData. I have created service of type OData. Then I'm saying endless scroll equal to true, batch false means no, get me all the records in one instant, not in a batch. Then we are creating transport, and here we are saying that, hey, read the data from this particular service, and this is the URL of the service, and on this particular URL my service is running. Then for cross domain I'm setting data type as JSON P, and my service is returning kind of JSON data. That's why here I'm setting data except header as application JSON. So this is what all you need to in Kendo UI to consume a JSON based OData service. Go declare a variable and then say new kendo.data.data source, set type equal to OData. In transport, set your read URL, set your data accept type, and you are done. So we have created a data source here. Next what we need to do, that we need to create a template. So this data source is saying that what data we want to display or show on app. Second is that your template, and template say how we want to display the data. To create the template from line number 21, what I'm doing, I'm just creating a div. Then on when user will select a particular item, it will go to employee detail. Then we are saying that, hey, show us the first name and last name and country of a particular employee, and then I have put some H3 and class, etc. Now we have created what part, that is data source. We have created how part, that is template. Next we need to create where we want to display the data, and that is list view. So let us go ahead and create a list view, Kendo list view, which we can create here. And to create a Kendo list view, what you need to do, you create a UL tag, then set their ID, then set the data source which we created in step 1, then set data template which we just created here, employee template. So you need to set data source and data template, then just set data style of list view, etc. And to convert that UL to a Kendo UI mobile list view, you need to set data role equal to list view as well. Now we have done that. Now to make it more immersive, let us go back and put some CSS, and I'm putting that here. I'm just setting that item title and item info, which we are using here, if you might have noticed, class item title and item info. And that CSS is purely your business need, how you want to display your data. Now go ahead and run. And if you go to home view, you see that here you are getting all the data from database. We added from different app, webinar, if you remember, and that data is being displayed here. So this is how easy it is using Kendo UI mobile and in Icenium to start developing. Sorry for my bad voice today. Just a moment. Yeah guys, this is how you can start doing development to fetch a data from a database, and that is using OData service or any kind of service, maybe WCF service, REST-based service, web API, any kind of service. You need to first create your data source, which we just saw, that is like few lines of code. Then create your template, create your list view and put it there. That's it. Your job is done. Now let us say this is your app. You know now how to publish it to marketplace. Just go there and say, hey, right click. Here go and say, hey, right click and publish it. Your app is published. Next, let me show you that how you can navigate from one view to another view dynamically. If you see line number 30 here, what we are saying that when user is selecting a particular employee, it should able to navigate to employee detail view, and we are passing as a query parameter employee ID. So next step, what we need to do, we need to create a view to show detail of employee, which is not there. Let us go ahead and create that here. Again, it is very simple. If you see line number 39 to 51, I'm just creating a div and then setting data role, data title. Inside that, putting a Kendo UI list view. In that, we'll be creating employee data. We'll be creating again that employee template. I'm sorry, I just copied something wrong. Just give me a moment, guys. Not this guy. We need to first create employee detail view, which is this. I'm sorry for that. And what I'm doing here is that I'm creating a div, again setting ID, setting data title, and setting data show. So here I have set data show equal to show employee details. If you see, this show employee detail is a JavaScript function name which will be called each time you will navigate to this particular view. Now let us go ahead and create a employee show detail template, because we again need to decide that how we want to display the data. Again, I'm just creating a template how you created to display all the employees. After template is created, let us go ahead and add some CSS. Again, I'm not focusing on CSS part because this is completely like a cosmetic thing. Now we need to create a show employee function data. If I come back here to my JS file, and what we are doing here in line number 31 to line number 36, we are creating a function, then we are reading that view, from which view this function is being called, and then we are reading this query parameter like this. View.bottoms.id, if you remember, we are passing ID there. I'll go back to index.html and if I can show you again. So here if you see, we are passing ID, and that ID we are reading back that there. Now let us go and run this application. If you go and run this, you see that we are alerting that employee ID, that is 4. And so far we have not written any code to display that data, but this is where we can read a different employee ID, which you see this time we selected employee with ID 9. So far good to go. Again, create a data source to fetch detail of that particular employee, which we can create here, hello world.js. Let us remove this alert and create a data source. And here what we are saying that, hey, in the exactly same way, create a data source for me, line number 36, line number 38, type is OData, batch is false, then transport, read from this particular service, data type JSON-P, data type application JSON. What is interesting here is that we are putting a filter parameter here. So to create, you can work with filtering, and here we are saying that a filter on employee ID where operator is equal and value is query. And you see that when we were alerting the query, we were getting that employee ID passing from employee home view to employee detail view. So we are good to go. Here in this way we can create a filter database, Kendo data source, I'm sorry. Then again we need to initialize a template, which we can initialize here. Now you see, if line number 56, what we are saying that, hey, you read this template, that is employee detail template, which we created in previous step as a text. Then once we have this data, employee details data with us, then fetch that data and bind the data which is coming from the server to template like this, and then initialize the view once again. Once that is done, save and run your app again, go to home, select, and here you see that you are getting a detail of that particular employee, and you are navigating from employee home view to employee detail view. Now let us move quickly to our add view and try to see that how we can add a record. We have already created an add view. Just I am creating a add form. So for that, go to your index.html. Here if you see, we have already created an add view. And here just I am putting, it's very simple, I am putting a Kendo UI list view. In that first name, last name, just input text box and span to show the label. Now go and save, and if you run your app, you see your add form is created, and that is nothing, just a span and input, a span, input, and span, input as a row of Kendo UI list view. Now let us go ahead and make that, some cosmetic stuff, which we can go and put that CSS again for add view, which I'm putting here, and now save. And if you run again, you see that it has been changed, that first name, last name, etc. You can now enter this, and now when we click on this create, this particular item should get inserted. For that, if you come back here and see line number 100, we are saying that when click on this save setting, this particular button, call this save data JavaScript function. So next we need to write save data JavaScript function, and in that function we write code to insert data back. So go back here and create a function in hello world.js, which is here. Then again to submit a record, create a data source. So what we are doing is saying that creating a new data source, line number 74. I'm saying that hey, type is OData transport, and this is a create, not read. You should remember last time we had transport and read to fetch data. This time we are going to create. Again we are saying setting URL of the service, then setting the type post, data type JSON, application. Then we are creating a schema. In a schema we are just setting different fields like first name type is string, last name type is string, etc. Once you have created the data source with schema, and you see that we just change the type to post because this time we are not fetching, we are inserting data. Next, go ahead and create an item to insert, and this item we are creating by reading those input value name which we created on HTML, like first name is first name.val, last name, title, address, etc. Once that is done, so we have a data source to insert, we have an item to insert. Next, what we need to do to insert, only we need to put these two lines that hey, in this data source dot add item to insert, which we are creating here, and after that is being added, sync this data source to the database, that is data to submit dot sync. Once that is done, let us do the last step. Last step is just showing a success message that data is inserted, and before that I am just clearing those values which we inserted and saying that successfully inserted. Your job is done. Go ahead and run your app. Here we are fetching all the data. Go add, and let us say we are calling it USA. I'm just giving some random value here so that we can verify easily. And post a code, say create, is saying that successfully inserted. Now let us go back to database and execute this. You see record number 23, you can see we successfully recorded from our app. Now if you go back again to app, oh, I'm sorry, I by mistake I closed that. We need that, so I'll go here and open that. So here if we go, this is our code, and say run in simulator and go to home view, we should have that USA here. Now again you have created your app, everything is done. Say hey, version control, commit this. Let us say call it as a final version. Commit. Once that is done, go here and say hey, run, build it. It will ask you build for, let us say, Android. It is building for Android. We'll get that QR code which we can scan and see that how this application works. Or if you have connected your devices through USB port, you can directly deploy using that run, debug and deploy option. It is building. And it's scanning the QR code or download to install manually. So here is a QR code which you can just click the picture and your job is done. Now come, let us say you want to publish this to marketplace, go and say Google Play or anything, suppose select the certificate, say build, and here you get your APK package. So we don't witness that how easy it is to create line of business app using Kendo Mobile and Icenium, and we wrote just very few lines of code to work with database, to work with services. We did not do anything to manage certificate, to create APK package, to build, to version control, to commit, to revert, to GitHub integration, anything. And this is how cool Icenium is. I have done all the development right now in Icenium Graphite. If you want, you can do everything in Icenium Mist, that is your browser-based IDE, apart from live sync. So guys, this is what I have for today's webinar. If you have any question, I see that my colleague Lohit has answered almost all your question. But if you have any other question, feel free to use Q&A panel to ask your question. And we are here for 5 more minutes. In between, I will just show you that how it works in browser-based app as well. So what I have done here is that you see this is a browser. You can go to icenium.com and do you can download the free trial. You can learn documentation, everything. For Kendo UI Mobile, you can go to kendoui.com and you have all the resources which you need. Now here you see that we just created this project. If you remember, Kendo UI webinar, say open. Right now I'm opening the project which we created in Graphite in Mist. That is browser-based IDE. That is app.icenium.com. Now if I go here and say, hey, run my app on iPhone, I can just select that. And you will see that that app is simulating in your browser. Home, here you go. And here I go, I can do all the development in browser itself. So if I go to index.html here, and let us say I'm changing, as I told you, changing this home to home 899, I'll save it. And I'll say, hey, run again on iPhone. And you see this has been changed to home 899 if you see in the bottom. Again, if I go back to my Graphite, it is saying that your app is ready for publishing. And if I go to my dashboard again and open this again and go to index.html, probably you see that message that it is saying that synchronizing, and it is telling you that, hey, this particular file has been changed outside. How you want to synchronize it? You want to take cloud because we done changes from the browser, or take local. If I'm saying that take cloud, and if I come back here, you see this home has been changed to 899 here as well, and go and run in simulator, this home 899 has been changed. So you see that how you can do development from browser and Graphite, and how it is integrated to each other. And go to icenium.com and kendoui.com. Feel free to reach us for any assistance. Okay guys, we are open for question and answer. How to achieve different platform control or UI in this? Okay, I guess Maulik, I did not, let me show you one thing. Maulik is asking that how to achieve different platform control or UI in this. It's a very good question. Maulik, if I can show you the same app, if I go and open it again, this is our app, and right now I'm running it in simulator. You see this app is completely native, that UI is native to iOS. I'll go and change to Android phone. You see that UI has been changed to Android, and as Lohit very rightly answered, that it is being taken care by Kendo UI, and you as a developer don't need to bother about that. You see that your home and that plus has been gone on the top. In case of iPhone, it is in bottom. So you just use Kendo CSS, and Kendo will take care that on which particular platform your app is running, and accordingly it will render the UI specific to that particular platform. So Paras, again you ask a very good question, that push notification is again not a native, so you asked three questions actually. Your question is that I can give native functionality on iPhone and Android like push notification, question 1, video recording question 2, and capture image question 3. Capture image and video recording you can do because these are supported on the phone gap. Okay, so you just to capture image, whatever the phone gap API are available, you can use them to capture image, like just as easy as making a JavaScript function call. This is answer of these two questions. So answer is yes, you can do that. Third question, that is push notification. Push notification is not native to platform. Push notification you get from the server on a particular platform. So yes, if you want to use Windows Azure mobile services push notification, you can use it in Icenium and Kendo Mobile. If you want to use Icenium, we are working on our own Everlife, which I talked in beginning, that is backend as a service. You want to use notification of that, you can use that. So any push notification server which got JavaScript API, you can use that on Icenium and Kendo UI mobile app. So answer is yes for all your three questions. Yes, Balachandra, very good question. You can do that. You can store and save it in a batch letter. That is again the feature of Kendo UI data source. I just selected that the simplest part for this webinar. But to answer your question, very much you can do that. Binaya, I'm not very much clear about your question. Icenium support device features, like if you can write again what are the device feature you are looking for, but any feature which is supported by phone gap is supported by Icenium. Parasnath, yes, we have the data visualization support. If you remember that last project template, when you choose that, you can create a data visualization based app using Kendo UI data vis libraries. Vinaya, as of now, you cannot do Objective-C development in Icenium. You can only work with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. And device feature means camera, video, everything is supported. So if I can show to you guys, let us go here to a site called Cordova. Phone gap. If you go to here phonegap.com, I believe that you can see my screen. Yes, Binaya, you are right. Icenium is only for hybrid apps. And here if you go and you have PhoneGap API docs. Okay? And here you see that API reference, what are the supported here are supported in Icenium. So here you see that accelerometer, camera, capture, compass, connection, contact, device, events, file, geolocation, globalization, media, notification, splash screen, storage, everything which is mentioned here are supported in Icenium. It is working on top of PhoneGap Maulik, yes. Paras, no, we need PhoneGap. That's why whenever you so PhoneGap is a standard. You need to understand that what is the context of this question. You can right now in world you are not creating any hybrid apps without PhoneGap. If it is HTML5, CSS, JavaScript based, Your phone gap is being adopted as a standard by different platforms. That is why Icenium is also using phone gap to talk to those particular platforms. But to answer your question, yes, phone gap is being used by Icenium. Uh, I did not get your question. All locking, etc., would be in purview of form, I guess. Could you explore this question a bit more so that we can answer you? Part of this question is very much debatable question, and performance is not only based on which IDE you are using to create app. Performance of any app is based on many other factors. So there is no direct answer of that question, which I can say yes or no. Maybe you are writing a native application, but you have not done the optimum coding, and your code is not optimized. Then your performance of your native app is also bad. Maybe you have written your hybrid app in such a way that it is giving you better performance than native app. But yes, having said that, people say that you are writing a code only for that particular platform. So little bit performance on, in context of performance, they are better, but hybrid have their own advantages. Like you are writing one program for different platforms. Hybrid have their own advantages. Like when you are creating an app which is just a database app, I don't see any reason that you go and create native apps. Maulik, there is no need of QR code. Like QR code is just for your benefit, that you have done your development. Now quickly you want to see that how it will work on any device. So just take any device, take the picture of that QR code and see how your application will look on the device. So it's just for the testing purpose. Does Icenium support any security feature to build any enterprise mobility apps? Again, this question is very, what to say? This question is again very subjective. What security feature you are looking for is different for different enterprise. Again, Icenium is consuming service. Your database, your enterprise database is on your enterprise service. Then again, your enterprise service is on your enterprise server. Icenium and Kendo UI or any hybrid app is just consuming those services. So it is up to your service developer, service architect, that how effectively they have written service in terms of security measure is the question. Icenium and Kendo has nothing to do with that. So to make any call, if your service requires username and password in an encrypted way, Icenium has to pass to, or Kendo UI Mobile has to pass to fetch the record to consume that service. So it is again a very subjective question, and feel free to reach me dhananjay.kumar@telerik.com. If you have any specific requirement, I would be happy to help you. Everlife is our backend as a service. So, again, Everlife is different solution. I mean different cloud-based offering, and this is backend as a service. And Everlife provide you many other things along with your role security. It has the backend data. It has email notification, SMS notification, working with large files. Again, as you rightly said, users, user roles, etc. And Everlife is not only for hybrid apps. You can take Everlife as a backend as a service for your Windows Phone application, for your WPF application, for your Java application, anywhere. Paras, I don't know whether you have submitted any app to marketplace so far or not using phone gap. I have submitted many apps, and just to create a certificate, let us say you are submitting your app to Android marketplace. How much time it takes to create certificate? If you have done, you know the pain behind that. You need to install Java SDK, go to command prompt, give this information, give that information, create a certificate, then upload the certificate to build.phonegap.com, upload your zip file to build.phonegap.com, and then you get this, get that. I'm sure that is not as smooth as in Icenium. Just right click and say, hey, publish my app. Choose this certificate. I'm sure that if you are working on, there's no working on any IDE which allows you to directly deploy your application on devices. In this case, this is webinar, I cannot show you that. You can directly connect your device and say, hey, deploy my app on the device. And you can verify, you can test that how your app would look on a device. You can do development for your iOS devices right from your Windows machine. So I'm sure these features are not available there. You have to take care of your own, and rather than giving your time to your app development, you are just, investing your time in the workarounds. So these are the advantages of Icenium over just a plain phone gap. Yes, you can do validation in Everlife. You can do validation in Kendo UI. In this webinar, we just focus, like, since we had only 1 hour, we did not touch all the topics. I did not again get this question, Balachandar. Is there any way batch input can be provided for testing the app? Could you explore? So Balachandar, I assume that you have many questions, and those are like based on enterprise. I request you that please note down my email address, that is dhananjay.kumar@telerik.com. I repeat, dhananjay.kumar@telerik.com. Please ping me. I would happy to help you and your team separately. Parasnath, whatever feature you think that you need, please go to icenium.com and you can request the feature there. And I'm very sure that our product team will happy to evaluate the feature request and bring in next releases. Balachandra, spelling is Dhananjay, DHANANJAY.kumar@telerik.com. So Dhananjay spelling is wrong there. It is, I'll type you for you. If I go back to my slide. So if I go to my slide, and here is my credential which you can use. So here's guy like dhananjay.kumar@telerik.com. Please feel free to reach me. Go to the telerikhelper.net for follow-up blog where we will announce winner name and share all the resources of webinar. Okay guys, we are 25 minutes ahead of the schedule. So thank you so much for your very attentive participation, and I am sure that this webinar was useful to you. Again, please note down our email, my email ID, that is dhananjay.kumar@telerik.com, and feel free to reach me anytime you need any help. And our next webinar, we will, you can find all the webinar list which we do on telerikhelper.net and all the resources related to webinar. So thank you once again, guys. Thank you so much. See you soon. In 2 minutes, I'll be terminating the webinar. Thank you, guys. Thank you once again, guys, for joining in today. See you soon. Thank you so much.